Hello everyone, EJK here, and I am going to be, I don't know if the right words, I guess the right word is commentating. So commentating over this Innovation versus Losira game played earlier in Pro League this week. I choose this game because I thought it was particularly interesting, and although there are quite a few interesting games going on now in Pro League, I am starting up school very soon, and my free time is very limited, especially since pretty much all of it goes into StarCraft, and getting better, and just practicing and refining my skills. So it gets a lot harder to find time to make these videos because it takes some time to upload it. It takes some time. First I have to watch it, then I have to rewatch it and record it, and then I have to upload it. And it's just a process that's hard to upkeep. So I do what I can when I can. In this game, Losira shows us probably the most typical way of dealing with mech right now by going into Roach Hydra. Like, his game plan is to go into Roach Hydra Viper and to use the Vipers to trade cost efficiently against the mech player before the mech player gets the oh so scary Death Ball army. Innovation, on the other hand, goes for a very aggressive 2-base opening. It kind of throws Losira off, catches him off guard, does some good damage, and is able to control the pace of the game for the rest of this game, controlling how fast he expands, when he attacks, where he moves out. Losira's creep spread also was severely hampered because of this attack. All the queens were killed off, the creep tumors weren't able to spread, so it was a good build by Innovation. For openers, we have Innovation going with the CC first, and we have Losira going for typical hatchery opener. The only real, I guess, small nuances to note is that Innovation builds his CC on the low ground. He also builds his barracks at 16. So he is playing slightly greedy, knowing or making a very well educated guess that Losira is not going to do a very early pool against him. Losira, on the other hand, is going to be going into a very fast lair. It's probably one of the stronger responses against CC first currently. You have the very fast lair and third base, you have the third base and then the very fast lair, or you have the super fast lair before speed. And it's all about getting those mutalisks or roaches out and to start exert map control. Also gain some scouting information. Also, having the overseer early on from a finished layer is very helpful in scouting what your opponent is doing. As we see on the minimap, Losira's overlords are not in a very good scouting position, I would say. There's one overlord close to the main base that he can potentially sack, but either way, he's not going to be able to get a good read of what Innovation's doing on this area over here. And this overlord, well, essentially Losira's overlords are spread as choke, or to see which pathways the Hellions go through. Losira getting his third base and lair ASAP. He gets it before speed even, so it's very fast. And this is all greedy play, very typical, very safe against this kind of CC first opener, because you know the Hellions are going to be slightly delayed and there's no Reaper to deal with. But back to the overlords, there's an overlord on this path, overlord on this path, and an overlord on this path, and then an overlord over here, the main entrance as well. And now this overlord is kind of, I don't exactly know where it's moving towards. I think it's repositioning itself so it can go in this direction, or at least check the main base over there, see what's going on. So Innovation is opening up with a Viking, which is going to be denying all of this good old scouting information. And instead of going for the standard 3 command center build that he has shown to do and favor on this map, he continues making Marines, he gets an armory, and he gets a medvac right after. Now this medvac, for those of you who don't know timings because there's no fucking clock anymore, the medvac appears, or it can get to your opponent's base by about the 8-minute 30-second mark. So that's kind of, let's say, I guess about a minute, because Viking takes 42 seconds to build, so about a minute slower, but the push goes undetected. As we see here, this push has gone completely undetected. Losira happily joining up, assuming that Innovation is going for a 3cc build, when in fact, no. There are 8 Hellbats, 6 Marines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 Marines at his base. Now he makes some panic banelings. He doesn't have a crawler. His queens are out of position. This is a disaster for Losira, and he's going to be taking a lot of damage. And it's all because Innovation added on. And this is still the same build, essentially. He just switched some parts around. So he got the armory a little bit faster for Hellbats, and he got Marines and Medivacs before he got his 3rd command center. And now he's following it up with Banshees. He's going to make 2 Banshees to continue the harassment. Losira lost a very large amount of queens. I believe he might only be on 1 or 2 queens tops. Actually, he might actually be on, I think he's just on 0 queens right now. No, there has to be some. Oh, no, there isn't. Yeah, so all the queens died, which is very good for the Banshees. So even though Mutalisks are out, the Banshees serve multiple purposes. They add additional harassment. They also are able to do added damage. Like, not only is the harassment option good because it's just another form of aggression, there are no queens. The Mutalisks are the only things that are able to defend it. Even the Viking is picking off some kills. So Innovation is going out all-out aggressive right now. And he's doing that. He can, as a result of doing that, he's able to delay his turrets a little bit. He's able to take his 3rd base relatively safely. And he's just able to push out at his leisure. So although these Banshees are doing some damage, they might not have done any damage at all, and that still would have been okay for Innovation because he's able to get his turrets up in a nice manner. He's able to start producing his first 2 Thors, and Vikings are out on the way now. And if he hadn't bought the time with the Banshees, there is a counter argument saying that if he didn't make the Banshees, he would have the Thors and Vikings slightly sooner. So I guess there's that. But the Banshees are just there for added harass. I would say it's part 2 of the attack, and then now we see Innovation have he has that starport on the reactor, and he's going into his standard mid-game, making the 2 Thors and 2 Vikings. Then he's going to make 2 siege tanks, and he's going to continue Viking production, and it's just a very safe way to go about playing this game. The Banshees also serves a lot of scouting information as well. Innovation got a peek at Losira's drone count. He saw that Losira re-droned up. He also knows exactly how far behind Losira is because he didn't take the 5th and 6th gas yet. And he hasn't seen any sign of roaches yet. In fact, Losira's roach warren is not even complete yet. So Innovation can sit back. He is cutting tanks in favor of getting his 4th and 5th factories up slightly faster, and he knows that all he needs right now is Vikings and Hellions to defend against the Mutalisks and Speedlings that Losira currently can build at the moment. 4th base going down for Innovation. Now, he could have, his game plan is not to attack his opponent, so although he is in a very big supply lead, to place the game out safely and to have a higher percentage of winning, you actually have a higher percentage of winning if you let the game drag on than trying to end the game soon. Innovation, it's not in his game plan to attack. He does 1 move out in a couple minutes, and that's simply to clear the creep. And he's not committing at all to the attack that we'll see shortly. Losira is droning up like a madman. He's just trying to macro hard, get back to where he is. He's behind in so much supply though because even though he didn't lose too many workers, he was down by about 10. It's really the queens that he lost that really put a hamper in his production because he wasn't able to use the additional larva to drone back up very quickly. So now he's finally caught up in the drone count. Innovation's scouting right now to see if there's a fast hive or not on the way. He also wasn't sure what Losira was building. He ends up scanning and seeing the roaches as well, so he knows it's safe to push out because Lucira's next step is going to be getting a Roach Hydra Viper, and seeing as there's no hive, seeing as he has roaches, he knows that there's just going to be roaches and hydras, and that's not very effective against Innovation's unit composition. So he's able to take that 4th base relatively safely, adding his first sensor tower on as well. He's not camping by any means. He is comfortably expanding and moving his army forward. Has a lot of space that he's created for himself from his opener. And we see the blue flame upgrade being added. Not sure if this is I think this is just part of his normal build and not a deviation by any means. The blue flame upgrade is very important. So the 2-1 upgrades finish right now, and Innovation just scanning there to see if there's possibly any overlords, if there's a lot of mutalisks. He's checking for the hive again, because he did scan originally before and he did not see the hive. So he was wondering if there could have been a pool of mutalisks balled up there, and he chooses to see that before he moves out. Now he moves out, just clears a little bit of creep, prevents the creep from getting anywhere near these 2 bases. This is the 5th base that Innovation's going to take. This is the 6th base that Innovation's going to take. And the less creep there is on this side of the map, the better for him. Now, Losira has slowly caught up in supply. He's finally maxed out. But it is 4 base Zerg against 4 base Terran. And Losira does not have Hive Tech yet. I think his Vipers are going to be, yeah, they're making right now. He doesn't even have his Hydralisk upgrades finished. Innovation is at 2-1 upgrades, whereas Losira is only at 1-1. So although the supplies have evened up, Losira is in a world of hurt right now. And Innovation moving out again, it's simply to deny the creep there. And this is going to be an important pushing point later on. And I think it's just because of how the game opened up, and it's a reaction to how far ahead he is and how much creep he was able to deny. Notice how that's the specific spot excuse me, that's the specific spot that he keeps scanning and killing creep there. And it's because he's going to push there later with his army. So at this point, Losira is expanding even more. He's going up to about 86 drones. It's going to go down to about the mid to low 80s. That's the sweet drone count that you need to be able to create a very big bank and be able to switch into Mass Corruptor Broodlord. But Losira is very behind, so the precious time right now that Innovation is not moving out on, Losira is now just starting his bank instead of accumulating a very big bank. And I'm going to pause the game really quickly because Innovation previously had his command center over here, just a couple spaces above over here. And I noticed this game that he moved it ever so slightly over here, and I like this a lot by him because it really protects this area so that the siege tanks, you can have a small line of siege tanks over here protecting both avenues of attack. So you're defending both of those spots with just one set of siege tanks being there. So I really like that adjustment by Innovation to his play. And he's also adding the starports on now. He's getting ready to take his 5th base. He's just playing very safely. He's in no rush to tech to battle cruisers right now. There's really no need to tech to battle cruisers. He just has he's just primarily focused on building up a very big siege tank count. He has about 20 siege tanks right now, and he's building one more. I think 25, if you have more than 25 siege tanks, that's way too many. But around the low 20s is about the sweet spot where you want to be. And you can just utilize the siege tank positioning and leapfrog with them so effectively at that point that even if you try to Blinding Cloud or Abduct, you eventually run out of energy. There's also Vikings out on the map to provide spotter vision and to kill off those Vipers, those very pesky Vipers. Innovation has 13 Vikings. It takes 6 Vikings to one-shot a Viper, so Innovation has plenty of Vikings. This is good positional play by Losira. Bit sloppy by Innovation, having his siege tanks not all spread out. So 3 Blinding Clouds are able to cover the majority of the siege tanks there, and as a result, Losira is able to pick this base off. A bit of a mistake by Innovation being slightly out of position, and now this is a very good pick off for Losira because he's bought a lot of time for himself to be able to accumulate that bank that I was talking about a little bit earlier. He's now gonna have a lot more time before Innovation gets to 5 bases, and Innovation was looking to tech the battle cruisers right there, but now that he's back on 4 bases, uh, he's just kind of Losira did sack a little bit of army, so while he's waiting for Losira to replenish it, Innovation's just moving it out around the map. So Innovation only does this move, moving out on the map and denying a base or two, only when his opponent loses army, and he doesn't. And that's the power of siege tanks, because you can entrench a position very well when your opponent doesn't have his maximum army. And we see Innovation doing a slow leapfrog. Siege tanks are a lot better spread out. He has his 13 Vikings still, and we see that it's plenty of Vikings to deal with these Vipers. So although these Vikings are being pulled, that was a pretty cost-inefficient trade for Losira. And the range of the siege tanks was just there so that the Hydralisks and Roaches were being slightly picked off as well. We see the double Spire upgrades going for Losira now that he has his 6+ base economy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, he just has 6 bases actually. Oh, but see that positioning, very beautiful. Covers both this area and that area. So good positioning by Innovation on the map. Good building placement. And right now, Innovation has just a crap ton of tanks. He denied 2 of Losira's bases. Losira's finally getting his 6th base up, but Innovation's 5th base is back up and operational. So the time that Losira had is now gone. Innovation is in a dominating position once again. He was never really in that bad of a position because he never lost his army. He just lost his economy. So I just bought Losira a little bit of time rather than getting him too much momentum in the game. So right now, Losira has a lot of Vipers, and he's doing a decent job at abducting. However, for every abduct that he's doing, he lost a lot of Vipers, and it was not a good trade. Against this Roach Hydra composition, Innovation has just been choosing, and when he scanned, he did scan a couple minutes ago, and he saw all those Vipers getting their energy off of those evil chambers, so he knew that against that many Vipers, you just need Vikings. There's no need to rush into battle cruisers. You want to wait until those Vipers are dead. Losira completely underestimated the siege tank count of Innovation, and he just lost his entire army there. Innovation had like, I think he had around 21 tanks, and he lost like 3. Maybe he lost a couple more to the abducts, but he lost very few tanks, and as we see here, just slowly leapfrogging forward. He has so many tanks that there's nothing Losira can really do at this point, and this is pretty much checkmate because although Losira has economy, he's not able to replenish his army in both the quality and quantity that he needs to defend this push, and he is pretty much dead at this point because now there's sieged up tanks right in his face that he cannot get rid of. Goes for the last-ditch YOLO effort and kills maybe a single siege tank, maybe 2 tanks, maybe 3 tanks, maybe a 4th? No, not a 4th. But, yeah, GG is called. There was not really much left that Losira could do. Innovation showing some great patience by establishing a lead and just going into his standard game plan of getting it up to 5 bases and then starting that battle cruiser tech and using his advantage earlier on positionally very well, pushing or like denying the creep first of all, and then pushing to where that little sweet spot was for Losira, separating his side of the map essentially in half, and putting a lot of pressure on Losira and just forcing Losira to take a fight he did not want to take. Yeah, so that brings an end to this game. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you have any VOD recommendations you want me to go over, you just leave a comment below and I will get to it in a timely fashion. Cheers all, and have a good night.